Boys. And I say boys because there's three of us. I like to, everybody knows my co-host, Joey.
Yep.
Joey, how are you?
It's been a minute since there's been three of us.
Yes. There's a lingering that there might be a return of somebody soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And I'd like to introduce, again on the podcast, you've seen him if you've been watching Cemeteries of New York.
Yep.
He's our fearless investigator and camera guy, Bobby Gray. Bobby?
Yeah, thank you. I'm back.
How are you, Bobby?
I'm doing good.
Joey, you get to actually have a different conversation today.
Yeah, I know. It's nice to have a third person.
Try to have an intellectual one now.
Yeah, exactly.
So you can,
Yes.
you know,
The
raise the bar.
The IQ in the room actually.
Break through this guy sometimes. It's like,
Yeah, I've been watching your pain.
the IQ in the room has shot up now. We actually have the IQ is up now because Bobby's a little older than us, so he carries a little bit more knowledge.
Yeah, a little bit.
So we're gonna have some good conversation. Also, Bobby is our honorary Italian for this episode.
Yeah, I've been told that once or twice in the past. Yeah.
And the reason I say that is because we're talking about some place out of the United States today. We're actually talking about a place in Italia,
okay.
Poveglia Island.
Yeah. See.
Sí? Claro que sí.
I don't know. Is that Spanish, bro? Like, this guy spending too much time with the Puerto Ricans and Dominicans.
Yeah, the amount of softball I played with them. Oh, yeah. Dame lo cuarto.
You know how to speak more Spanish than I do. at this
Sigue,
point.
segundo. Línea.
Yeah, you know the deal.
I know the deal. But it's a very haunted island in Italy. I told everybody in the spooky preseason that you were on that we were going to do stuff outside of the United States. And collectively, the world is all haunted and it's got strange and weird things. So we're going to Italy because this has not only been featured on a hit television show, Ghost Adventures.
Yeah.
This is when Ghost Adventures first started, when there was only three of them, Aaron, Zach, and Groff. I always forget his first name. He branched off and now he's been replaced since then. But I know his last name is Groff. Sorry, brain fart. But there was three of them. They went to the island. They were given permission by, I guess, the Italian government to go on the island. And it was a crazy episode. And, of course, when it comes to stuff like this, there's a couple of factors when it comes into hauntings. And it's always, like me and Joey have been saying the last couple of episodes, Native Americans. So that's here in the United States. Mm-hmm. But then we go to the asylums and hospitals. And those create such a negative impact in the energy and cause hauntings. And then the third thing, of course, is war. Whenever you go to a battleground, there's always some type of haunting or story. So those three things.
Long story short, when bad things happen to people.
Yes, exactly. That's what it equates to. So you got the natives of a land, bad things happening to them. Asylums and hospitals where patients were usually treated terribly, or back in the day, some very bad experiments. And then you have battlefields, and those three things always cause hauntings. So Poveglia Island is a very historic place in Italy. And I have, once again, until Nick returns, because he's actually in the works of coming back. Mm-hmm. He's actually been cited on social media. Have you caught that?
He's probably working on some notes right now.
Yo, dude, he's working on notes. My return.
So you guys trying to tell me that I'm out now?
No. We have four microphones.
Four mics.
We actually have four microphones.
There it is over there.
I don't see another chair though. Man.
No, don't worry. That's over there too. Don't worry. We'll have to set things up. It's been a while since we had three people, but we have to set things up.
We'll make it happen.
We'll make it work. So let's dive into the story where it first came famous. The island was first settled in the 5th century when people fled invasions on the mainland. For a time, it was a quiet, self-sustained community. Small but thriving in its location in the lagoon made it safe, tucked away from larger powers. But as centuries passed on, Venice grew into a mighty trading empire, and Poveglia's fate shifted. By the 14th century, Venice was one of the busiest hubs in Europe. Bustling markets, ships carrying goods from Asia, and unfortunately stowaways in the form of fleas and rats, which caused the Black Death. And in comes the plague, and here's where the shitstorm happens. Now, back in the day, plagues were something that caused just mass sickness. Obviously, medicine wasn't that good. Bobby and I, when we went to Sleepy Hollow, Washington Irving left the city to get away from yellow fever.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
And his parents were like, you got to get out of here. We're going to send you somewhere nice. And they sent them to Tarrytown. And that's where Washington Irving became accustomed to the Dutch people there telling stories of their lores and folklore and stories of that. And then it intrigued him so much that he ended up coming back to Sleepy Hollow, moving to Sunnyside, and writing a whole bunch of works using names affiliated with Tarrytown and Sleepy Hollow. But he, again, escaped New York City because they were going through a plague. And now in Europe, the bubonic plague, or the Black Death, was a big thing. Now, when the plague struck, Venice needed somewhere to isolate the sick. Now, I don't know how many of you guys have been to Venice. I know I haven't because I don't like flying.
No.
That was a trick question. I don't fly. So, but Venice, because of the waterways and the limited room, I'm going to go on a limb that it's not easy to pick up garbage, especially at that time, and do things with transportation. So it was probably a little dirty, especially at that time period, the 14th century. They needed a place to put the sick people. Everything was close quarters. So Poveglia Island was chosen as a quarantine zone. They should have just told them 2 weeks to slow the spread. Everything would have been fine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And masks.
Yeah. They wear masks.
They would
6
have been
feet
good.
apart.
Yeah, 6 feet apart.
That's it. 6 feet apart.
Oh, that's a different episode. Sorry. Victims were ferried to the island, not for treatment, but to eventually die.
Yeah.
Entire families were sent there, many against their will. Imagine being healthy one day, then seized up and thrown into a boat because someone suspected you of being sick. So even if you weren't sick, they would just be like, Bobby's sick, throw him in a boat, he's going to Poveglia Island. And the unfortunate thing about it is you weren't coming back. So if you were labeled sick, you were going to this island to essentially stay there for the entirety.
Well, you also label sick if anybody in your immediate family was labeled sick. So, because you lived in small quarters. So, say your child had signs of the sickness, and there's 5 more people living in a house that you were all labeled sick, and that's it. You were going.
Yeah. So this is the thing is like even if you weren't sick, and you were affiliated with someone that was sick, you and your loved ones and your friends, you're all going to this island.
Yeah.
So, and it's not a good island. It's not Love Island. It's not a game show. You're going to stay there and you're not coming back.
Yeah.
So, on Poveglia Island, the sick were left to rot. Dead were piled into mass pits and set ablaze over and over. Waves of plague filled the island of people coming in, waves and waves. Historians estimate 10,000 victims perished there. Some locals believe the soil of Poveglia Island is now half ash, half bones and dust from the remains of the countless bodies buried in the pits. Legends claimed that screams could be heard drifting across the lagoon as people begged to be taken off the island. But the Venetians' laws were clear. Once you were sent to Poveglia Island, you never returned. So imagine being in Venice, which is an excellent place to go and vacation, and your house happens to be pointed in the direction across the lagoon to that island, and hearing at nighttime people screaming and yelling and seeing the smoke and smelling the smoke, because burning body does not smell good. I don't, you know what I mean? You can imagine what a dead body smells like. It's terrible. Imagine what dead bodies smell like being burned right across the way.
I don't want to know.
That's probably...
It was only 3.5 miles offshore.
Yeah.
And there's nothing filtering it. So now these screams, these audio, and the odors, like you say, they're emanating. You can see it all, and those are your people. That, I can't imagine that.
At that point, I turned to my friends and family and be like, if you fucking cough out loud or sneeze, I'm going to murder you myself, because that means you're being shipped out if they saw you.
That's it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So legends claim that the scream, that we got to that point, so that was terrible. Now we're going to get to the actual ghost stories. So with such a dark past, it's no surprise ghost stories surrounding the island. Fishermen in the centuries that follow claim to see strange lights flickering off of the island, even
aliens,
long after it was abandoned. Some spoke of phantom figures walking to the shore, or the eerie wails carried by the wind. So they were still hearing the wails of people dying and crying, There was eerie lights, and people could see like people walking on the shore of the island. Even today, paranormal enthusiasts believe the plague victims' souls linger, restless and angry. Many investigators report being overwhelmed with sadness and dread upon setting foot on the island. The sheer weight of so much suffering, they say, is carved into the atmosphere. So that is what poor paranormal investigators. I wonder, like, how you go about investigating that. I'm sure you just can't take a boat freely over there, just like we can't go to Hart Island.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's like strictly prohibited.
Get in trouble.
Yeah, you can do it, but yeah, it's up to you.
Consequences.
Yeah. So yeah.
Well, yeah, no, strictly prohibited.
Yeah, no, we can't go to Hart Island here, which is very close to us. Which is.
Remember, there were 2 kids from high school who tried to do that back in the day. Like from Lehman.
Didn't they pass away?
Yeah,
they got into an accident.
The boat sank and they drowned.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, fortunately, if you try to do something that's not allowed, you risk. One of the reasons maybe why you can't go there is for safety.
For that risk, yeah.
You know what I mean? So here's the era of the asylum itself. This is what happened while people were being sent there. So, at the time, it was a psychiatric hospital as well, not just a burial place. In the 1800s, what better place to have people that were able to be isolated over on the island than the mentally ill? Obviously, it's away from everything. Mm-hmm. What better place to do isolation? So, in the 1800s, Poveglia Island was repurposed, and at this time, it was a psychiatric hospital. So, my bad, I kind of messed up the words there. So, after all said and done, they turned it into a psychiatric hospital. So, after there were people there that were getting burned and being kept there from the plague, they actually repurposed it. So, now you have 2 things that happened there. People died there that probably weren't sick, were kept there against their will, died there sick, and now in the 1800s was repurposed as a psychiatric hospital.
And we know that the practices in psychiatric wards in the 1800s were not very good.
Not good at all. So patients were brought to the island and continued with the crumbling buildings. Some accounts suggest treatments were minimal at best, neglect at worst. People reported visions of shadowy figures, hearing screams, and feeling watched constantly. Of course, they were all dismissed as delusion. So you have these psycho people there, or people that were sick, EDPs, people that were going psychotic or just genuinely ill, and they're telling the staff, "Hey, I saw something walk past me." And the staff
believe it.
The staff there is like, no, here's another pill. Here's another pill. Take it easy. But then comes also the chilling tale of what also makes Poveglia Island very dark and haunted. The iconic doctor that was there.
Yeah.
Legend says he performed crude lobotomies using hammers, drills, and chisels.
Yeah.
He experimented on patients without anesthesia. The screams echoed across the island, blending with the already haunted atmosphere. Can you imagine getting a lobotomy? Or getting something drilled into you with no anesthesia?
No.
So, on top of what was already had there, with people being sick and burned to death, or dying of sickness, or not being sick at all, being burned, the chaos, and then you have it repurposed as a psychiatric ward or island, and then this doctor is doing all the stuff there.
Yeah, Dr. Grasso, I think his name was.
They never... they never
weren't sure about it.
Actually got the name of the doctor. So Grasso's Italian.
Yeah, I read that somewhere.
You know what I mean?
Grasso.
And the story goes on. The doctor eventually went mad himself.
Yeah.
Some say he was tormented by the very spirits of plague victims and the patients that he tortured. He climbed to the top of the island bell tower and jumped, but others claimed he was pushed, that unseen hands hurled him off the bell tower. Witnesses reported that he lay dying. A mist rose from the ground and actually consumed him.
Probably committed suicide. Like, why would you go up there to begin with?
Well, again, we don't know the doctor, so you got to play devil's advocate here, right? You don't really know the name of the doctor, but it was reported there was a doctor doing this stuff. He went to the bell tower, he jumped off, he died, and then a mist took him in. So was the doctor in fact real? Was it doctors plural? what exactly went on. Again,
Yeah.
when you go back in time like this on an isolated island, who was writing the history and giving the reports?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And
the people
it's
that,
anybody's guess.
that would have to be the victims that actually got off there, that were in this hospital, told their families, and their families told their families, and
It becomes like a lore story where
Becomes a lore,
where
and
it's
they-
not based in fact. It's just, like one of those stories like, oh, there was a doctor that killed himself there.
right, a big game of telephone. So
And don't forget, that's in the 1800s when they first started the asylum. Place closed in 1968. So there were no records kept early on, or very
Yeah.
few,
Yeah.
if minimal. So we don't know. Like you say one story to you, comes back.
yeah,
But
it's
you couple it all together,
in
kind
the,
of makes a good recipe.
in the midst of telephone, it came from something real.
Yeah.
Right? Something that was actually seen, something that was actually heard. So even that it gets conjumbulated, is that a word?
It is now. It is now.
It is conjumbulated.
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 There we go.
Spell it.
We're gonna put it right there.
I'll do my best to spell the word that I made. But
Ask AI.
eventually, even through the game of telephone, it's derived from something that actually
Yeah.
happened. So it may come out a little bit out there, but So the bell tower itself was one of the most iconic parts of Poveglia Island. The bell was removed long ago, but people still insist they hear it ringing. Late at night, across the lagoon, a faint clang echoes, as if reminding Venice of the island's dark history. Some paranormal investigators have captured recordings of metallic ringing when exploring the ruins, even though there's nothing left inside to make such a sound. So imagine the energy there, right? Because we think of paranormal, like we think of the paranormal, everything that happens and manifest, it happens because of the energy left in an area.
Correct.
Can you imagine that is so much energy at this place that it actually is creating what was there that's physically not there no more to make sounds like a bell tower. That's why people still see and hear gunshots in Gettysburg.
Yeah.
Or in
Very good.
Rikers Island, not Rikers Island. I'm going to say Rikers Island. New Yorkers consumes me. Alcatraz.
Yeah.
People can still hear doors opening and closing, and every cell is closed, or people can still hear the inmates there. So that's kind of similar to that. By the 1900s, the asylum closed, and Poveglia was left abandoned. Today, the island sits in ruins, crumbling walls, overgrown vegetation, and the skeleton of the hospital that is still looming. The Italian government has officially banned public access. Even fishermen avoid docking near the shore, believing the island brings back bad luck to them. A few explorers, journalists, and paranormal investigators have managed to sneak in over the years. Their accounts are consistently terrifying. Visitors describe being overwhelmed with nausea, hearing disembodied voices, and even feeling phantom hands pushing and scratching them. Some report seeing dark shapes dart across the hallways. Others have claimed to hear screams from the plague pits, so actual pits they use on the island to take care of people. Now, like I said in the beginning, shows like Ghost Adventures and Scariest Places on Earth have covered Poveglia Island. Nearly every team comes back shaken. Yeah. Investigators have cut sessions short due to the overwhelming energy. Some say their equipment malfunctions, batteries drain instantly, or cameras capture unexplainable shadows. By the way, Scariest Places on Earth was a great show. I believe that was on MTV. And they actually picked people.
I remember that.
Yeah, they picked people. It was one of the first paranormal shows I watched that was like real deal. Like they're going to it. They picked people, brought them to
They just attach cameras on them,
right,
and they just let them
great
go
show.
through it.
That
I remember that show.
That show was like before its time.
Yeah,
like
no
all
kidding.
the stuff you see now spawned from that show. And it was random people putting them in random haunted locations.
And it was telling them to go to. They were like the directors would be like, you have to go to this room, and give them like a challenge to do in the room, like stay there for a few minutes, repeat some sayings or whatever.
Yep, it was. They had like papers, and they were like pulling it out and like, okay, I got to do this. They were rigged up with a camera facing them and a camera facing where they were walking, and it was such a cool show. I remember loved watching that on MTV. I believe it was on MTV. If I'm not mistaken.
You're getting genuine reactions out of people. You know what I mean? That are probably
Well, that's what's
terrified
cool
of
on
what
that.
they're doing.
And I remember there being a lot of skeptics on the show They were like, I'm doing this because I don't believe in it. And then when they were there, they were like, yo, what is going on? And they were catching stuff live. One chilling account describes a team exploring the ruins where a heavy door slammed shut behind them. No wind, no explanation. They felt trapped as if the island itself wanted them gone. Today, Poveglia is called many names. The Island of No Return, the Plague Island, and of course, the most haunted island in the world. Locals won't speak of it openly, and even the Venetian government has resisted selling or redeveloping the land, despite offers. It is as if the island is meant to remain untouched and has a scar of Italy's lagoon. Oh. So that's Poveglia Island. So, first off, what do you think is causing the hauntings? From what went on there? Or do you think the island itself has retained the energy and is something natural?
Kind of reminds me of that movie, The Others.
We're not dead.
Remember that?
No.
You never saw The Others?
No. With Nicole Kidman?
Yeah,
No.
dude, that was actually pretty good.
The movie was
That's
like,
actually pretty well done.
Spoiler alert if you haven't seen The Others.
Yeah.
It's you're watching the movie from the point of the view of the ghosts, and you don't know that they're ghosts until the very end. And there's a seance happening, and the seance, you're like, what the heck is going on? You're trying to figure it out, and there's a seance. And in the seance, they said something like, is that why you haven't left? You're dead, or something like that. And then the little girl, she's like, we're not dead. We're not dead. Like, she was bugging out because, they finally realized that they've just been living in their house, but they've been dead for like many years already.
Wow.
And the ghosts that they were seeing were the actual people that were living in the house that were alive.
Whoa.
Trippy, right?
That is trippy.
It's a good movie.
That's real good.
I didn't want to ruin it for you.
Joey always
I just
brings up
ruined it for
movies.
you.
I've not seen a lot of movies, believe it or not.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Casino.
You're kidding me.
I haven't seen The Goodfellas. And I'm Italian.
I was gonna say that's
These are classics.
That's obligatory to watch those.
There's a lot of movies people name, and they're like, you haven't seen that? I'm like,
You gotta get on it.
Yeah, I gotta watch that. I haven't had time to watch things, but isn't that kind of like Sixth Sense?
That's what I was just thinking, right?
Sixth Sense,
Similar.
like Bruce Willis is dead.
That's Bruce Willis, right?
Yeah, it has a spin like
Yeah,
that
spin
movie,
at the
but
end, I didn't see that spin coming. Apparently, everybody around me did. At the end, I was like, "Oh shit!"
No one.
like that.
I didn't notice the whole entire movie. No one noticed him. He was talking to the kid, and he was in these scenes and stuff like that.
Yeah, he was dead the whole time.
I see dead people, and
it doesn't dawn on people that he was the dead person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't see that coming. But yeah, so I think that when you talk about places like this, that everything that happened there, which was not good, people, there's an old saying that if you died unexpectedly of unfinished business or things that were really bad, you're going to come back. And in an island surrounded by water, all the elements, you have everything, all the telltale signs of a haunting, of the energy to manifest things there. So much so that you can hear the bell ring of a bell that's not even there no more to the tower, which is pretty crazy. And then two different things that happened there was used as where people were isolated and kept there to die if they were sick. And then when they died, their bodies were burned. They didn't get a proper burial. Right. They were put in a pit. And then the psychiatric hospital thing where you had some crazy doctor. And I feel like every asylum or every place like that has one doctor that just doesn't care. They just do really crazy things. We have stories from Letchworth Village. We were there where there was really bad doctors and really bad nurses. Waverly Hills Sanatorium. There's so many places around the United States and around the world that had doctors and staff that were not good to their patients and just openly did things, and that doctor, whatever his name is, because it's not really true, took these mentally ill patients. And we're like, I can experiment on them because they don't know what's going on. And regardless if they don't know what's going on, they couldn't report it, not at that time. But even though they don't know what's going on, they could still feel it. So imagine them, getting strapped to a table and getting basically a nail hammered through your eye socket.
No good. I'm watching what's this show on Netflix, Monster, about Ed Gein. You know who that guy was? Man. They made the movies Psycho, based on him and Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Like those movies were spawned from this one guy, Ed Gein. It's basically like a serial killer, but had a fixation with his mother and would do like horrible things to like not just people that were alive, but he would dig up bodies.
Didn't he also do the skin too, right?
Yeah,
He wore the skin.
What do they call it when you taxidermy? He would basically taxidermy people and make chairs out of them. And,
Oh my God.
Yeah, like
That's
it was
crazy.
all in his house. All his furniture was like sewn in with some body part from someone. Pretty
Whoa.
disgusting.
Whoa.
That's pretty sick, yeah.
Yeah.
Now I can see why you said the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, because
That's what he did, yeah.
Leatherface. He put-
Leatherface,
So he used to like take women's faces and put them on his face.
Whoa.
This guy had Gein. Yeah.
That's like a whole other level.
So Texas Chainsaw Massacre is technically not fictional, you know, like the family and the whole story is fictional, but it's
Yeah.
based off of this guy.
wow.
But yeah, it's pretty disgusting stuff like that.
Yeah, that's
Like what
crazy.
you mentioned.
I'm actually waiting for something to come out on Netflix. You said you're watching this on Netflix.
Yeah.
There
You'll like that show. It's
is a
good.
documentary coming out tomorrow, Tuesday. We're recording on Monday, so if you hear it, obviously we record on different days. But there's something coming out on Netflix tomorrow. Like a whole bunch of, or just one story about like this haunted thing happening, and it's based on true events. That's what I like to watch. I like to watch things on true events because, you know, it's something that happened and it's being retold. That intrigues me more than watching like a science fiction movie or like a horror movie that's made up. Like I don't know, like what's that? Art the Clown guy? What's that?
Yeah.
Horrifier? It's called, or it's Terrifier, right? It's
Terrifier, yeah.
I mean, I heard great things. It's just
People don't like clowns. That's why.
I'm just not a fan.
I don't have a clown phobia.
Yeah, I don't have a clown phobia either.
I'll beat the shit out of a clown.
Yeah, that thing. Yeah.
But you know what the
kidding.
best
I'm
thing
kidding.
is? You got to text people who are afraid pictures of clowns and wait for the reaction. That's great. If you want to unfriend people, that's the way to do it.
Just send them clowns.
You remember when, what was it, like 10 years ago, that people were dressing up as clowns and just walking around at nighttime and people were like filming
I
them?
remember that.
That was, that's a good way to get shot.
When they come out of the parking lot, right? You ever seen it when they're down in the underground parking lot and the clown just comes out like this? And people just tear off.
Oh,
you
yeah,
know?
they set the camera. They set the camera up, and
It's
they
crazy.
film people doing crazy things.
Crazy.
So yeah, so this is going back to the plague times, and that's when you had the plague doctors and their masks.
Yeah.
You know. So let's do a little history tidbit. You know why they wore those plague masks, those plague doctor masks? You know what I'm talking about? That long mask. with the-
Almost like a masquerade party mask.
Do you know why they wore that? What the whole concept was behind that?
To keep a distance or filter distance.
So
yeah.
inside the long mask of a plague doctor, they were the ones being tasked to deal with patients that were sick. So they wore, in theory, they did have a mask thing back then. We joked about it earlier, but they did have a mask thing back then. So what they thought was, in this long mask, they can actually put things like incense and types of herbs throughout the muzzle of the mask. That's why it was pointed like a
kills whatever.
like a bird. So as they're inhaling anything from the outside, it's going through like basil or frankincense
So
and
filtering.
types of things until it hits their nose. So essentially whatever they breathe in is being filtered by everything placed in the beak-like mask of a plague doctor.
More pseudoscience.
Pseudoscience, pretty much.
As well as masking the odor, too.
That's
Because somebody's dying
Right.
body
So they
bodies
had-
from within.
That makes more
in
sense
the
then.
beak, because it did look like
Yeah.
a bird. You know, it looked like
Yeah, it did, yeah.
basically best way I could describe it, like Gonzo from
Yes.
from
Very
Muppet
well,
Baby.
yeah.
You know, they had to kill the smell.
Insert picture.
Yeah.
There's a sound effect.
Next to what was that word?
They had something to
I
kill
give Billy work, man. Every time I say something like that, he's like, oh,
I got another thing for me to edit.
That's not our
Real
problem.
quick, they had everything lined up in the mask, just kill the smell and then kill the virus. And yes, going back to what Joey says, I have to create images that correspond so that people just don't watch us.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They're not just
Yeah.
watching us. So I have a couple images created that go along with what
Gonzo,
we're
yeah.
saying. So now I got to pull up a Gonzo.
Trademark infringement. Be careful.
Yeah, you know, you could use what Gonzo looks like because we're not, you know, we're just showing people. That's another thing. I have to be very strategic on what I can and can't use.
kind of like the dodo bird from. Didn't the dodo bird look like that?
No,
Oh no, he had like an umbrella on his head. the
there's
dodo bird, I
actually
feel like.
actually a type of monkey that has this really weird nose.
Talking about the cartoon.
No, I know.
Oh,
But
okay.
Gonzo is he reminds me of, because he has that. But there's a monkey that
Yeah,
looks
the
like
flaps,
that.
right?
It has a nose, and I forgot the
Doesn't
type
it
of
flap
monkey.
a lot?
It does.
That's an odd.
I know
It's
I know what you're
really
talking about.
weird, and that's what it reminds me of Gonzo.
Yeah.
And one of the zoos used to have that type of monkey. It's just a weird nose. If you Google like monkey with a weird nose, it comes up
It'll
and it
come
gives you
up.
it gives you the right name, but I don't know the scientific name for that. But that's what Gonzo looks like that. But yeah, they used to wear those masks back in the day because essentially that was the theory, and they were all dressed up, so it looked weird. They had this with the goggle man, got big BB eyes, fly eyes, because you know, and the hat, that weird top hat, but a big brim, and drenched up in a black trench coat, so like essentially nothing would get on you, but still keeping the time period.
Like Spy versus Spy.
Yes, the white spy, the black spy,
black
with the
spy.
hat. Yep,
Kind of looks like that.
yeah. He would wear the Carmen Sandiego hat.
Yeah.
Huge oversized fedora, and that's why they wear the mask. And 100% at that time, that's what they were wearing during those times. That's where we have the term plague doctor, because those doctors were dressed up during the times of the huge plagues. So,
Well, that's a common visual people see to this day. They say they see people walk, like images or whatever they are, walking around with the plague mask on. From people with binoculars or people.
can you grab that next to you, Bobby? It's sitting there the whole time.
So this is where you're getting your here. Insert here.
Yeah.
There you go. Here's Gonzo.
So this is a stuffed animal of similar to it. So they
call
have
him Little
this,
Billy.
this hat, right? They had the mask, which was this nose right here, and they had stuff in it. And then, of course, at nighttime they'd be walking from places to places with the
I
lantern.
think that's where the idea
But
for this
I had there you
stuffed
go.
animal came
Yeah, that's
from.
exactly. That's why I
It says right there, made in Poveglia.
Yeah, look at this. Actually, Soho, New York City. There you go. So it was sitting there the whole time, and I was like, I have a stuffed animal. I used to keep that in the back of my old car, in the windshield, and I can't do
That's
that with
great.
my new car now because I have a hatchback. But yeah, no, I had won that somewhere. I was like, I'm gonna win that because I like that the way it looks. They had other ones that looked like it, but it wasn't wearing the plague doctor stuff. So of course I went for the plague doctor because I'm a fucking weirdo.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but now it's Poveglia Island, one of the most haunted islands in the world, if not the most haunted. And that's the history of it. And I feel like we should have covered that a long time ago, but what better way to cover it on spooky season?
I'll give you just a couple quick tidbits
Yeah.
that I found. First of all, they say there's up to 160,000 bodies that were buried there.
Really?
Or, yeah, 100 to 160,000. So that's
That's a lot.
Could be a hell of a Twilight Zone episode out of this.
And one thing that was crazy. They said another guy you see. There's a guy went up and started ringing a bell when there were massive deaths, and he kept on ringing it because he wanted to warn everybody that we're dying, help us. And his mind went, and he just kept on ringing a bell, and then somehow the door had locked behind him, and they found his body, and he had died, just by himself in there. And again, they say they attribute him to be the one who was ringing a bell when you hear it.
Wow.
These days, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get it.
That's crazy, right?
It's crazy. Every spot, every place has a separate story affiliated with
Yeah.
it. You know what I mean? Where did your lady's friend, Ashley? Mm-hmm. She went to that house in California.
What is it again?
Yeah. Every time I try to think of a name on an episode, I can't think of it. But meanwhile,
the Whaley House.
yes, the Whaley House.
I don't
in
know
California.
even. I don't even know where that came from, but it was in there, bro.
You're getting,
Mushrooms.
You're getting good. He's getting good with the paranormal. You're getting on.
Shake the head, it comes out.
Good again. In that house, there's separate stories of different haunting things. Same thing with the Farnsworth house in Gettysburg.
Yeah.
There's separate stories. There's the story of the little kid that got crushed outside from the horse and carriage. Then you go upstairs and supposedly there's a sniper that hung himself up there because he was supposedly the one that shot Jenny Wade, who was the only civilian killed in the Battle of Gettysburg. So he felt guilty that I killed a civilian. He hung himself. That's a story in the Farnsworth house. So these places have not only the story of how it got haunted, but separate side stories of little things that go on, like this guy who is ringing the bell tower.
Yeah.
So it's crazy, these stories. So, have anything else that I missed that you find interesting to that?
I'll remember it later, but
Okay.
I should have said this and that.
Later's
but-
good. It's less work for me.
Yeah, less work for
Less
you.
work for me.
But you covered it well.
Well, thank you. That's what I've been doing is looking up the places, and then I write what I find. Like I save it in a tab, and then I write it onto notes, and then I send the notes to ChatGPT to rewrite it for me because I write like a dyslexic 6-year-old. Everything is misspelled. I'm like, can you rephrase this for me? And then it does the job. So yes, technically I use ChatGPT, but technically I am doing the work. I'm like taking the notes, the most important stuff from what I think is what people will find interesting. So we have a few extra minutes. How's everybody's spooky season going, Joey?
It's all right. I'm
Yeah.
supposed to go to that thing soon with the Nightmare Before Christmas. Where's it? The Botanical Gardens or something?
They still have that? I didn't
Yeah, they reopened it.
Oh, cool. Yeah. You doing a horror?
It's either there or it's somewhere else, but Ashley sent it to me. So.
You doing a horror hunt this year?
Nah.
I was really
Definitely not.
I was ready to go for that.
I am not running into any cemeteries anytime soon.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was just
I'm too old for that now.
yeah. Well, you got to come to one of the investigations with us.
And listen, ever since I disturbed the peace, I haven't gone back.
Oh, you took the warning.
Yep.
And the comments after I posted that video of everyone that was there with you,
Oh yeah.
they were like, "Yeah, they left me. You left your sister there.
I told you it was a true thing. It was a thing that we did.
But you left your.
I jumped in the car and we were out. Wow. I was like, there was somebody in there. He told us to get out.
I'm assuming your
He
mom.
didn't tell us to get out. He was like, you're disturbing the peace. I like interpreted it as like, get the
I've never had something like that happen where I was like scared and I left the place. The only time something scary like that happened to me was we went to Buckout Road. I don't know, this White Plains or Yonkers.
Yep, that's what might sound familiar, right?
I don't know if it's in White.
Something Westchester
I
County.
commented one day and someone was like correcting me. No, it's in White Plains. It's like I don't care. It's up there somewhere. You know,
Yeah.
like I've been there. Whatever. But it was me and my good friend Charlie, and I think my brother and a couple of people. And this is when I was still doing the ghost stuff. Like investigating and stuff. So I brought my stuff with me. We pulled up onto this road, like somewhere on Buckout Road, and there was like a little area we can walk, and it was like a little abandoned cabin, whatever. And me and Charlie are walking. I still have the old school like VHS, but the littler cassettes. And we're filming, and Charlie taps me on the shoulder, and he goes, "Yo, there's eyes over there." And I'm looking, and it's two yellow, round eyes. I'm like, nah, it's probably something else. It's nothing. But then all of a sudden, it blinked. It went like this.
Right
And
on.
it was like in a movie. So Charlie's like, "Hey, there's two eyes over there, right?" And then it blinked, and he goes, "And it blinked." And then, and right after he said that, and we saw it blink, we were out. Like something just blinked at us. We couldn't see anything but the eyes.
Probably a kitty cat.
And
These
that
guys
was
are running
and that
down.
was enough for us. And that was enough for us to run. So I essentially ran because everyone else ran, and I would have been by myself standing there with a camera in pitch
trying
black.
to figure out what
You're
it
the
was.
boss. You're supposed to.
But I wouldn't have had a way to see. So I'm standing there. So everyone like ran. I'm like, okay, they ran. So I guess I got to run now
He's
because I'm
running from a cat, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Bobby, how's your Halloween going, buddy?
It's too damn hot.
Yeah, this weird.
I'm actually
crazy.
behind on. I go a little out there. I'm decorating outside, inside. I really all the holidays, but
Get a little
especially-
closer to the mic.
especially Halloween. But when it's 80 degrees out,
Yeah.
I took a few things out. I just threw them on the floor. I'm not even putting them up yet. It's got to get cool in the middle of the week. Once it gets cool, then we start.
It's so
It's
odd.
like 80 degrees today, the high.
Yeah, it's like that's too much. Leave that in
It's like
August.
70. It's crazy because the last 2 weeks of August, it was like
Yeah.
60 degrees.
Got cool.
We couldn't go in the pool.
Yeah, remember that?
The last 2
Yeah.
weeks of August, and now all of a sudden we're getting reverse weather. It's absolutely crazy.
It's crazy.
It's
Climate change.
Yeah, climate change.
Oh, it's real.
Jesus Christ. It might be.
It might be. I'm not going to get
Let me
into
get
it
my
on this.
mask. In case I need that too.
Well, listen, we have 2 more spooky season episodes to film, and then spooky season's done.
There you go.
And
It's never really done though.
no, it's not for us, not for this podcast.
365. Come on now. Come
see,
on.
the thing is, Bobby, there was a real big like streak that Joey and I were on, where we didn't touch the paranormal. We were touching conspiracies.
Oh, yeah.
This is great, too.
And that's part of our podcast. That's what we cover. We cover conspiracies
unusual,
and aliens and cryptids. And for spooky season, I'm a people pleaser. I like to appease the crowd of the paranormal because we're doing.
Speaking of which, we're missing a big one: 3AI Atlas or 3I Atlas.
I did a side talk episode about it, but I haven't did the updates that they're saying, and I also don't think I think it's full of shit.
There's no more updates. I haven't heard anything more.
They say that it is more than one object now. Or
is that?
I don't know. It's so silly. Yeah. It's a meteor, dude. And there's like the same guy.
The problem that threw the monkey in the wrench was that a Harvard physicist who's like, it took a weird path. Like it's the chances of it going or the trajectory that it took to get to Earth. Right. He was like, it's 1 in a trillion or something like that. And like the object is bigger than any known object. He bugged everybody out. Listen, even Michiro Kaku, you know what I'm talking about, right? Even he was saying there is a potentiality of it being an extraterrestrial type of
at this
vehicle.
point. I will believe it when I see it. The same guy who was talking about it being an alien is also the same one that said it was a different asteroid a couple of years ago, saying it was a UFO.
It was UFO.
It was the same. It's the same guy. It's the same guy.
Maybe he's looking for likes.
You know what I mean? Exactly. So if I'm telling everyone, now there's this ghost, and people keep saying it's not a ghost, and they can prove it's not a ghost, and then I say it again, so that's what kind of threw me off. Yeah. But it's supposedly at the end of October. That's when it's going to be behind the sun. All right. So unless I see Jeff
weird
Goldblum,
shit starts happening. They start sending little ships towards us, bro. I'm gonna be like, I told you.
Then listen, I'll actually be happy.
We're gonna sit down and do an episode. Breaking news, everyone.
This just in.
Well, listen, if that happens, the one thing that we'll be doing, we'll be sitting here doing an episode as little UFOs come down from outer space, and I will also be sipping a cup of coffee from How You Brewing Cafe in Tuckahoe, New York.
Best out there, Leo.
If you haven't heard about How You Brewing Cafe in Tuckahoe, New York, it is the best place to get a cup of coffee with over 14 different flavors of iced coffee, and of course their house blend hot coffee and their treats inside the glass that you can sit there in store, eat and drink, or take it on the run. How You Brewing Cafe in Tuckahoe, New York is the place to go for your cold brew, hot brew, and of course SWAB's favorite cup of Joe. How You Brewing Cafe, Tuckahoe, New York.
And awesome people running it.
Yes, they're always pleasant in there. And again, I said it on another episode, if you see me pop it up, you mean a sound effect? Yes, that is the it is not the name on Instagram, but that's what they're using on Instagram, but it is called How You Brewing Cafe. So I pulled that up. That's the place. Follow it, and it is called How You Brewing Cafe, although their IG is different. And of course, a big thank you to Spotify for Creators. If you haven't heard about Spotify for Creators, it's the free app that allows you to get your podcast idea
out there.
Yeah, we gotta work on that. We gotta train Bob. That's yeah. So when we're here, we didn't fill him in. So
I knew you were setting me up for something.
Yeah. So when I get to that point,
with that make believe gun. I don't know.
Ready? Let's start over. Ready? We'll start over. A big thank you to Spotify for Creators. If you haven't heard about Spotify for Creators, it is the free podcast outlet that allows you to get your idea
out there.
There you go. If you have a phone, tablet, or computer, head over to Spotify for Creators to get started. Yeah, that's what. See, there was a time where we were gelling. The morale was high. There was a tripod here all the time. It was me.
You're gelling. I'm sweating here trying to keep up.
Joey, me, and Nick. We were every week, and then like at the same time, they got to a point where they talked amongst themselves and say, when Billy says that part, we're gonna jump in and say out there.
Love it.
And that's what we saw. So when you hear me reading that off the top of my head, you join right on in.
I will.
Yeah, so we, if I'm not mistaken, 2 more spooky season episodes left.
2 more.
And this week, if you're listening to this on Wednesday when it drops, we got Sleepy Hollow airing this Friday on the YouTube channel at 12 o'clock in the afternoon Eastern Standard Time. So that's our 3rd episode of Cemeteries of New York. And of course, if you haven't listened or watched Cemeteries of New York, head over to the SWAB Podcast YouTube channel to check it out. It's very historical. It's got some spookiness in it. And it's pretty good if you want to watch something extra that gives you history and spookiness of the spooky season. Of course, SWAB_podcast on Instagram is where most of our content is as well. Bobby, thanks for joining us today. I
appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Another solid job. Hold on. Do that again. Yeah.
Out there.
Hey, out there.
Not again?
No, not again. You're good. Joey, always a pleasure, buddy. Oh, man. And this has been another episode of the Say What Again, Billy podcast. Thank you.
Thank you.